Wow. I feel very, very nervous. So I think the first thing that I'd like to do is just kind of have an icebreaker. So I'm going to make a couple of statements, and I'd like you to raise your hand if you agree with them. As a living being on this planet, I deserve food. As a living being on this planet, I deserve water. And as a living being on this planet, I deserve shelter. Great. So you're probably wondering why I'm asking you these questions. Well, the UN predicts that by 2025, the world population is set to increase to 10 billion people. That's 10 billion people who all deserve food, water, and shelter. 10 billion people who even the smartest of minds haven't even really figured out exactly how we're going to feed those people. One of the largest problems that we're facing is creating a sustainable life for all living beings on this planet. And I know you will agree with me because you all said that you all believe that we all deserve food, water, and shelter. So it made me kind of think, what can I do? Well, my solution is eat with your heart. I was born in South Africa. At the age of 5, unfortunately, we became homeless and we lost everything, which meant that we had to emigrate to the Netherlands. When I was 6, we finally managed to scrape together enough money to do that. My mother took myself and my 4 other siblings to the Netherlands, where we were reunited with my dad, who had already gone a little bit sooner before. Unfortunately, though, sadly, things didn't really work out with my dad, so we moved to the UK without him. This is where I now call home. My mother worked extremely hard throughout our childhood to provide for her 5 children, but it really wasn't ever a walk in the park, and there were very many days where there wasn't any food at all, and it wasn't because she wasn't trying, it was just because it was simply so difficult for her. So I could never really tell you that I was a picky eater. I mean, I would always go to my friends and I'd take everything that I could. So 3 years ago, I made the decision to go from eating meat and dairy every single day to leading a fully plant-based lifestyle. I'd like to take you through an example. That's my brothers and sisters. I'd like to take you through an example of why I did this. So Tony has a farm, which is a beautiful rectangle. And half of his farm is dedicated to the grazing of his animals. That's cows, pigs, all that kind of stuff. Meaning he also has to feed those somehow. So 25% of that he has to feed his animals. That leaves 25%, or a quarter of his land, that he can give to his family, or he can sell in the markets, that kind of stuff. Food that directly feeds human beings. Although I think we're going to go through a water crisis pretty soon, so he starts thinking, okay, let's hold it down. What can I do? So he decides he's going to reduce his intake of meat and dairy. This now means that instead of having 50% for his animals, he now only has 25%. That automatically means he's halving the amount of animal food that he has too. And what a staggering amount. He's now able to double the amount of human food that he's producing, meaning he's feeding double the people with half the resources. So this is why I decided to do this. I felt that it was important for me to start living consciously. Was it easy? Absolutely not. I was always the person to say, oh, vegetarians are way too picky. But I decided I had to do my own thing, and this is what I did. So at the beginning, I felt that I was constantly having to justify to myself to people, saying, oh, wake up, why aren't you doing the same thing that I'm doing? And they would just laugh at me. They just call me stupid, and it was really upsetting. But what it made me realize is that I have to start doing my own thing, and I have to start doing my own plant-based thing. And if I wasn't doing it the way other people were doing it, then that's absolutely fine, because we're all different and we're all humans. So I have this little running joke. A lot of my friends call me part-time vegan. And that's because if I want to have some chocolate, or when I came to Switzerland, I really wanted to have fondue, I would just have it. I don't restrict myself, which makes the whole process so much easier. Although, I'm not going to say that it didn't bear down. It was one of the things that sat with me most difficultly, because I thought, why can't I be like everybody else? And it was great, because one day I was walking in here in Lucerne with my friend Molly, and she said to me, Helen, stop being so hard on yourself, because you're trying, and you inspire me every single day. So what I realized is that I love being an inspiration, and the way that I would maybe inspire people to even think about it was by doing my own thing and following what I believe to be the right thing to do. Somebody who's always inspired me my entire life is my mother. She had so many things that were so difficult for her, but no matter how many countries we had to move, no matter how many places beat her down, no matter how many people left her, she always kept trying, and most importantly, she did it by her own rules. So Martin Luther King famously said, "Faith is taking the first step without seeing the whole staircase." Well, I've got this friend called Tom, and he's a chef at a pub in London that I worked at. And I'd been working there for a little while, but when he started there, he said, "Oh, gonna have to feed a vegan." In fact, most chefs, if you say, "Oh, sorry, I'm vegan," or "I'm plant-based," they go, "Oh, not another one," you know? But what was amazing was that after many conversations that we'd had together, and after 4 months of working together, finally he said, "Hey, part-time vegan." So I was like, "Yeah?" He goes, "Have you seen the new menu?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Well, there's 5 new vegan meals on there, so lay off the cheese." So I was like, wow, that's great. And what I realized is that we'd both inspired small things in each other's lives, and they were significant to our world. I don't believe that we have to sacrifice all the things that we love. I just believe that we have to live consciously. I believe that we have to decide for quality over quantity, thriving with less. After all, and I know you all agree, all human and non-human animals are all entitled to food, water, and shelter. I believe that we all have the power to lead by our own example. Someone famously said, Gustave Le Bon in fact, he said that the individual is infinitely more intelligent than the crowd. Well, we are all individuals, but we make up this crowd, and what binds us together is this earth. And if we can start worshipping this earth as if it was a god, somebody who's all-being, all-loving, all-forgiving, then maybe we would start to see a change. But I don't believe that we should do it because somebody's telling you to. Because at the end of the day, we're all individuals, and you're all brave, you're all an inspiration, and you're all intelligent. So lead by your own example and inspire one another. And do it because you believe. Well, do it because you believe in yours and also our future. I believe as somebody who, such as myself, can stand here before you today and present the positive things that have come from my journey and from my experience, then I believe all of you can do so too, only if you dare to live with less. My final message is eat with your heart, but do it by your own rules. Thank you.